Happy
Hello.
day.
How's it going, Dakota?
Good. How are you today?
Good, good. Welcome to episode 18. That's awesome. Are you excited?
Episode 18 of the new network. I'm still excited. Yes.
And
Still
today,
loving it.
yes, always loving it, seeing you. Today, we want to talk about social media, and it's going to be a bit of like a practice what we preach. Today, we're doing the preaching, and then we're going to challenge each other to practice it this week.
Yes. Social media has become such a powerful tool and an everyday part of, I think, everyone's lives. I think, if you're not on social media, you're not really in today's society almost because, a lot of things happen and that's kind of where
Yes.
everything happens now.
Right. And especially as business owners looking to grow our business, looking to connect with new clients or just like minded people, social media is where it happens. There's no longer the networking event or the happy hour that you can go to and physically meet people and hand out business cards. It's shifted so much. And it was shifting before, but COVID was also a good catalyst in accelerating that to be now there's a lot of, it's a virtual business world, I'll say.
Right. And it's hard to know because especially for you and I in the business that we went through, I don't know what your experience is with your training in your school, but I was never taught like how to like do social media or like how to make a cool Instagram post. But I see all these people and they just have these crazy cool posts. I'm like, I want
Styles.
to do
Yes.
that, but
Like personal branding.
exactly. And it's kind of been a learn as I go. I feel like I touch my AirPods a lot when we're
Right. I
recording.
can't hear it.
Perfect. But yes, I feel like we were never taught how to do that, and it's been a learn as you go type thing. And I think that I've seen myself grow, and I think that my posts are better these days. But it's very hard to find the motivation to not only make those posts but continuously do it.
Yes, being consistent and also authentic too, because I think my shift changed from it being like your prettiest pictures and your best selfie or you're doing something cool to being like, oh, this is actually a space where I can share more. Like I can share more about who I am, the good days and the bad days. Like to be that real, raw, and relatable. It wasn't anymore like a pedestal of your best things. It was your kind of opening opening your world to the virtual side, like showing your whole world.
Right. And it's an easy, not easy, I won't say easy, but it's a great way to connect to people that you normally wouldn't connect with.
It's
I
definitely
know
not
in pardon?
it's definitely not easy, and like I know that's not what you meant to say, but like to go off that point, like it's tough to I think sometimes post things because our own limiting beliefs get in the way, our fears, like trying to keep us small and what are people going to think.
Right. And I think that is a really, really big thing for our generation. And I think for a lot of people. And I even talking to older realtors, it's like, what are my friends gonna think? What are not people like not
Yes.
clients or not people that I'm trying to reach per se? What are they gonna think of me when I post a story of me just sitting there talking about my day? Like,
Yeah. Who am I to do that? That imposter syndrome creeps in. And I think too for us, like who we were in high school, we are not that person anymore. But some of the people that have us on there only remember us as that person. So it's like you're like breaking out of your shell, but you're like, is like this is actually me, but those people don't know that version of me.
right. And I think it's also very, very hard to translate your authentic personality onto your social medias. Because even if you are, I find myself whenever I'm like, recording a quick video for my story or whatever, I'm thinking about what I'm saying and
Yeah.
making sure that I'm not saying anything that will, portray me in a negative light.
Or like similar to that is like when you send a text and it gets misread because like video is great because we are able to be more like communicate more through it, but with text it's just words, so how they're perceived, like if you're writing, you put a picture and then you have your caption below, that can be tough to be you and also be like clear in your messaging and what you want to say.
Exactly. Yes. It's so hard to, yeah, translate. You have it in your mind what you want that post, how you want that post to impact people, but it's
Yeah.
so hard to get it perfect. And I think that's kind of
Yes.
another downfall per
But I think
se is
that's
that
part
we
of it.
don't really exactly we don't need to be perfect. Um, what we're
Right.
trying to do is show who we are and show
Yeah.
how who we are affects our business.
Mm-hmm.
For us, you and I, we talk about it from a business standpoint, but there is definitely people who are just trying to be influencers or trying to be or trying to connect with people all over the world. And to do that, they're posting on their socials, and the
Yes.
TikTok is big
Social
these days,
selling.
stories.
Mhm.
Exactly. And it's hard, but some people are just so natural at it, and they can, just put a camera in front of them, and it's as if there
Yeah.
is no camera. They're just there. But for me, I definitely find myself, as soon as I know that I'm recording myself, I'm like, ooh.
Yes, your ego's like, don't mess this up. Like you start to get more like stage fright in that sense. But I think that part of the message too, and this is like again preaching it to myself, is it's better to do it imperfectly than to not do it at all.
Right. And I think that's a great thing about Instagram stories. I'm talking about stories a lot. They are really only there for 24 hours unless you pin them to your profile. Um,
Yes, put them in your
so that's
highlights.
exactly, that highlights. That's the word I was looking for. That's a great tool to use. And I personally, for me, some of the realtors that I follow, or some of, even the people that I follow, they get on there like once or twice a day, and they just
Yep.
put their face out there, and they just talk, and they just say, you know what, hey guys, what's up? This is my day. This is what happened. And whenever I want to do that, I'm like, well, who really cares? Like, who wants to know about that? But then here I am glued to my screen watching those other people and saying, like, hey, what did you do today? Like, I want to get on there and see what they did.
And part of it is that like I have strangers on TikTok, but when they talk about their toddler, I'm like, oh yeah, how's that kid doing? They're probably I think she's from down in the States. Like, but it's all comes to that, and this has been preached to me since I started, is the no like trust factor. And now is that it's the most important to be yourself out on social media, because people will get to know you through your post. And then they decide if they like you or not. And if they don't like you and they unfollow you, that's good. They were never your ideal client. And once they're at that point, like before people even know you, they feel like they know you. Before people even meet you, they feel like they know you. That's how that was supposed to
Exactly.
come out.
And I think we've kind of gotten a lot of good practice at it so far with the podcast, because we do the video portion as well.
Yeah.
And I'm definitely more comfortable talking to you through. Obviously, it's not the same as if we're, face to face. That connection is there. It's a lot easier to bounce off each other. But I think we are slowly getting better at, connecting and having those deep conversations with each other. And I think that the podcast has helped us a lot.
Yeah, it's the challenge of getting deep at a distance, because I think as humans we are meant to gather and be in person, but we can't right now. So it's really um like planting, I don't know, like say you're transplanting a plant and it's in new soil, but like it's gonna thrive. It just has to figure out where to place its roots and like how to adapt. It's adaptation. We're adapting to a new habitat. We are frogs.
And we're bringing it back to animals. I love that.
I can't stop myself. Yes, so that's where um, I think social media is great, and I think it's a challenge though for me, anyways.
I
Um,
completely agree. And I think it's important also to remember, much like the rest of the things that come with the pandemic, is that we're all kind of learning. It's not like,
yes,
you know, some people, from what was that, at Vine or whatever, or like, they
Mhm.
are social media influencers, so they are used to being on camera.
Yeah,
But for the most part, people like us who are kind of still getting used to it, um, it's everyone's going through it. We're all learning. We all take some time to get comfortable. It's gonna be the new norm, but we're not quite there yet.
yeah, and I
Um,
and I don't know like if the spook ever goes away, like if it ever gets less spooky, or if we just learn to adapt again and just embrace it and be like, well, like kind of like I don't know if I'll ever be like fearless with it, and I'm okay with that, because but I think that you can grow. It's like going down in a basement. Like when I was a kid, I would be way scared, but now I do run when I get close to the staircase, because that's obviously the safe zone in every basement. But like there's still a bit of fear, but I can come down and do laundry.
yeah, that's actually a really good analogy. I definitely am still a little bit skeptical of basements, or even like certain houses. I find like family
Yes.
members' houses, like you have that weird feeling.
Yeah, you're like, there's a spook factor here.
The spook factor, I love that.
Yeah.
But I think, as adults, I'm gonna put in quotes, we're kind of getting, I don't want to say used to it, but like we deal with it better, maybe. We're more
Yes.
equipped.
More equipped to, yes, and the pros outweigh the cons. Where when I was a kid, I was like, I'm not going down there. That's spooky as heck. But now
Yeah.
I'm like, I want clean clothes. Pros outweigh the cons. So I'm not going to post. That's crazy that people are going to see inside my life. Oh, but clients will get to know me before I even meet them. Pros, cons.
Right. I like that idea, but I also want to get to a point, and I'm not saying that I don't have fun doing social media creation and content creation right now, because I do.
Yeah, but
But
where
I
the
find,
joy outweighs the fear.
yeah, I want to get to a point where like I like doing it, I'm having fun doing it, as opposed to, it's work and it stresses
Yeah.
me out ever so slightly.
Yes. 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 That's a good point. I like that take on it. And I think it can be like life is meant to be fun. And I have a neighbor across the road, she runs a business and she's like, you just have to play. Like she's like, I thought it might work. We tried it, and whether it did or didn't, and it's a successful business now. But you have to, like, I think we lose that as we grow up. We forget that life really is about playing and creating and using your imagination and seeing if it sticks.
I love that. Yes. And I also think that we also focus too much on being, I like professional. Does that make sense? And that we want to be like the perfect
Oh
professional.
yeah,
So yeah, like
yeah,
letting our hair down per se and
right.
putting that on social media. Like that's who we are. I'm not in a suit 24/7. I'm not, at business meetings 24/7.
No,
Like I like to have fun and I want to show that with my clients and,
and I think that's part
relate
of
to
like the
people.
new network, though. That's also the way that business is going. You're not expected. At least most of my clients, if I show up in jeans, they're not like, "Oh my gosh, she's less competent than the guy that came in a three-piece suit." They're like, "Okay, cool. We're like." They don't feel the need to clean their house as much or put their kids in the basement during the meeting. I'm like, no, no, like this is me and you are you, and we're gonna be, but I'm not gonna try to be someone that I'm not. So, because then you're not even getting to know me, because that's not
No,
me.
and it's just such a cause of stress and anxiety. And you're like, oh, the realtor, oh, the financial advisor's coming over
Right?
today. Like everyone on your best behavior and get that
No, no,
smile on
no.
and
Mm-mm.
like just be
Yes.
yourself. That's why we're here. I want to focus more on the human connection and less on the what's the word I'm looking for?
On the image.
Yes, on the image of what I'm supposed to be.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's part of our challenge too this week is to post something every day, which is good. And we're going to hold each other to it.
Yes, we are going to do 7 full days of posting something, whether that be on any social platform, whether that be on the multitude. I have a lot of accounts. I think that you narrowed it down to one. Is that
Yes, I did. I did bring it back to one. And I think from that, if I make professional posts and people don't want to see that, then they're welcome to unfollow me again.
right? And I also think that combining personal and professional is a great way to, connect with people and let people know who you are.
Yeah, because
I
I'm not two different people, but it works different for everyone.
Right. I was about to say, on the other hand, find it hard to post. How would I like to word this? I like to keep my things a little separate for myself, not as much for other people, but I think I have 4 Instagram accounts. Yeah, I have my personal, which I don't really post on, but I just use it for, I follow my close, tight knit
Yeah.
friends and I don't really do business on there. And I, follow my like drag race and what other things I like.
Yeah.
And then I have my business, my real estate page, and that's just focused on, like real estate, dog page, dog content, of course.
Yeah.
And then I have the new network, which is just about the podcast and stuff like that. So I like to keep them all separate. I do struggle, which I know we've talked about this before. I know you mentioned it was a struggle to keep up to date on all your accounts.
Yes. Yeah. And I was overwhelmed by that. Now, mind you, now that I've bottlenecked down to one, I'm still not posting as much as I want to. And again, it's just me getting in my own way.
Right. And I find it so hard to consistently post because I'm always worried about what I'm posting. Like, is this really the image that I want to go for? Is this really
Right.
going with my aesthetic? I like the word aesthetic, but I also kind of hate
Brand.
the word aesthetic.
Personal
Your
brand.
brand. Yeah, my personal brand.
Mhm.
But I think I need to focus more on like, you know what? I am my personal brand. So
And
whatever
like, this is me.
whatever
And
I
also,
post, it is it.
people, sorry to interrupt. People like when I look at someone's Instagram, I don't scroll back to their very first week. Like you look at the 9 squares that are most recent, you're like, oh, that's really cool. Or so if there's one that you're like, I don't know if this is really on brand with me, but it's what I feel called to post it. Like that's okay.
Right. And that's another good point. It's also important to keep your social media is up to date, because like you said, when
Mhm.
someone's coming to your page, they're not looking at your post that you made 3 months ago.
Yeah, for
They're looking at
Christmas.
your, yeah, exactly, they're looking at your most recent post. So you want to make sure that you have those posts that do represent you, but they also are like you're continuing up to date with posts that represent you. That was a lot of representing you in one sentence.
I liked it all.
Thank you so
Represent.
much.
Represent yourself in the most representative way.
Right. But I also think that social media can have a bit of a negative influence as well if you are focusing too much on social media and
Yes, I think it can
less.
be very toxic when you're not living in the moment. Um, but from that, I think you need to take the time to schedule the time to be out of the now, focus on the post, and then go back, re-enter to being in the moment. Do you know what I mean? Versus
Yes.
like, because being on and off of it all day, well, then yeah, you're wasting a lot of your life living in that phone. But if you have half an hour and half an hour at the beginning and the end of the day, then you're able to bookend and control it a bit more. And then when you are connecting with people, it's meaningful. You're not just mindlessly scrolling and liking and being like, oh, cool. Like you're saying, wow, like you're able to focus and go deeper versus go thin and go like lower quality.
Right. And I also think it's like almost like a trap. That's super easy. It's super easy to fall into, in the
Uh,
sense that you're either posting too much or you're constantly on there scrolling through other things, or you've gotten to the point where you aren't really representing yourself anymore. You're just posting to post and posting to get that,
yes.
what's the validation, almost like people can get very like reliant on their
Yeah,
social
instant
media.
gratification. Yeah, validation.
So
Mhm.
how do you kind of watch that line between being yourself on social media, posting
Yes.
enough, but not getting too far into the rabbit hole that you can't get back out? What do you do?
Yeah, you really have to judge it off of your feelings. Like for me, it has to be like, does this feel right to post? Yes. Or if I'm scrolling, I have to stop and ask myself, like, are you doing anything productive? Like, are you truly giving love and energy to people, or are you just mindlessly wasting your energy and not giving anything of quality to anyone else? Like, what's the exchange going on? And there doesn't always have to be give and get, but like, are you is this good for me? And a lot of the times I'm truly just doing like the scroll of doom and I'm not going like getting anywhere. But if I truly take the time and say, okay, you have 15 minutes to engage with people, I'm far more apt to like enjoy that experience.
Right. And I think that is where, for me personally, having those separate accounts is effective because, I know when I'm on my personal account, I'm not doing anything productive. I'm literally just scrolling to scroll and do things. But when I'm on my
Mhm.
business page, I'm not following like, memes and stuff like that. I'm going through and, doing actual
Yes.
productive work and like getting myself out there. And then when I'm on my dog page, I'm just looking at dogs mostly. But
Dogs.
you know,
Just dogs. I hope
that's
I am
why.
coming through okay.
Pardon?
Am I coming through okay?
Yeah, you're coming through. I
Yeah.
just hear
Okay, good,
nails
good.
in the back,
Um,
which I find adorable, like dog nails on the floor.
that's my dog. I need to cut her nails.
Same.
Yeah, that's exactly what you're hearing, and possibly also my family upstairs because joy. Yes, so that's where like social media can be really great. It can have, but it is like anything where we overindulge food, alcohol, exercise. It can harm us, so we have to be mindful of that.
Exactly. But it's finding that line, much like life, finding that line of, being productive and doing things, well on social media and falling into that rabbit hole. So going forward this week, the challenge for both of us is to post on our social medias, whether it be social or whether it be Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, whatever it is, at least once a day, just to check in, just to see, how we do. Because I have a schedule set for myself where I try and post,
Just to challenge
3 or 4 times a
ourselves.
week. Pardon me.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
Oh, I said, yeah, just it's a good challenge for ourselves and to see, like, even on bad days, to still post. You know what I mean? Like, even when
exactly.
energy isn't great and life's not perfect, like to still show up
I definitely struggle
because
with
that's
that.
life.
If I have a
People,
bad day
other
or if
like
something
that's human.
happens. Exactly. Yes. If I have a bad day,
I
I
shut
don't
it
want to
all
post
down.
on social media. I don't want to go on anything. I'm
But
just like, but
yeah, I'm like, no, I'm gonna close down to the world. There is a fine line though. Like if you need a mental health day, you can take that day. But there's value in showing up as an authentic human.
Right. Yes. However, I think that I use it a little bit as a
Yes.
scapegoat and a little bit as a justification. Um, if I'm like, oh, you know what, this bad thing happened to
Mm.
me today, I'm
But
not
you
gonna
know
like,
yourself best. Yeah.
right,
Yeah. So, and that's where you have to self monitor and be like, okay, get real. Like, what do you actually need? Is it like, do you need a half-hour nap and then can you show up? Or because instead of writing the whole day off, what can I give myself now? And then I can be who, show up. Even if I'm not at my best, I'm still showing up.
right. And I also think doing that is going to be a great way to monitor how I'm doing up here. Because if I find that I'm having a lot of days where, I'm not feeling up to posting and I'm not feeling authentic, then I'll know that I maybe am not doing as
Mhm.
well as I think I am mentally. Um, so yeah, I think posting on social media and getting yourself out there is
Yes.
also a great way to,
That's also
yes,
like good because I made a list last week of like things that make me feel like the most connected or authentic or best, and that would be a good time to be like, okay, what can I do to get feeling closer to my authentic self? Like, is it eating fruit? Is it drinking a big glass of water? Is it going for a walk in nature? And I also made a list of things that don't help me to feel like my best self, so I can be mindful of when I'm choosing those, how I'm going to feel.
exactly. Yeah. And I also think it's a great way to let your circle, because sometimes we don't talk about these kind of things that help us or things that help us reach our goals. But if we're posting them on social media, it's an easy way for those around us to kind of get to know us even a little bit better, um,
Yes.
and know how to, what's the word, help us with
Yeah.
our mental health and be a
And
better,
also
like,
like
have a better
maybe be
impact.
inspired by us or about how to motivate us.
Yeah, exactly, how to motivate us. That's a good thing.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think if
I
everyone
am very
was super.
choppy, so I hope I'm coming through good on your end.
Yeah, no, you're doing fine, you're good. um where was I? Oh, yes. I think if everyone was a little bit more open on social media and not just focused on the good thing, then we would be able to connect with each other easier. Especially in times like this where, we're
Mm-hmm.
not going to see our friends every weekend. We're not, having big family gatherings where we see all the family. So it's a great way for us to still connect, still get to know each other, still check in without necessarily calling up every single
Mm-hmm.
member of our friend group or every single member of our family every day and saying like, hey, how are you? Because that is
Yes.
exhausting.
Yes. Yeah. So I'm very excited for this challenge. I look forward to this week of putting myself out there. It's going to be good.
And we are also going to work on the Q&As that we have been talking about for the
Yes.
last couple of weeks and been putting off because we are terrible. But
Terrible.
yes, we're going to do that. And
Yes.
then, yeah, so check our
Check
social
that
medias.
out.
Val, do you
Keep
want to
following
plug your social
us.
media really quick?
Ooh, I think I'm Mind, Body, Soul Financial. I know that is my thing, but I think I have periods between each word. Or if you just look up Val Stratford, I think you can find me either way.
Yeah,
That's Val
they'll be
Stratford.
in the description as well. Owen will put them
Mm-hmm.
in the description, all of our social medias. You can find me at Dakota Pits Official on TikTok, on Instagram. You can find my personal account. You can follow whatever you want. And then you can follow us on the New Network 2020 on Instagram and TikTok. We've got a lot of videos on our TikTok, and we're going to do better at posting on our Instagram, hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Here's to a
so
new
check us
week.
out this
We're very
week.
excited.
We are
Thank you
going to
for
be
following
posting a
us.
lot. Yes, thank you. And I hope everyone has
Mm-hmm.
a fantastic week.